Wi-Fi, configure the non-free repository firmware. What? Video system works, but in software rendering mode, you will need to install Intel Micro, a non-free package. The chip is supported as of Linux 4.4. However, it requires some non-free firmware to operate. How dare you? FOSS is free and open source software, which is both free as in the freedom to do what you want with it, and open source as in all the source code is available for anyone to view. And the entire philosophy around this is fantastic because anyone can use it to kick off their own project. You have all the source code available, you can contribute to it, you can redistribute it, and it truly is what you would consider freedom when you're using Linux software. Now, there are some issues around FOSS, and it's not necessarily technical. There are technical reasons why you wouldn't or can't use it, whether it be with hardware or you need a tool that just doesn't do the job. This is common for people who use Windows software, and then you just end up using Wine in order to install your Windows software in Linux to be able to do what you need to do. Now, before going any further, I want to say that I 100% suggest and encourage the use of FOSS whenever you can. But if for whatever reason you just can't do it, well, then you can't. I see far too often people getting chastised for using certain pieces of software and then turning around and promoting FOSS while praising themselves for how every single piece of software they have on their computer is free and open source software. Well, that's fine and congratulations, but that's not always an option for everybody. The whole point for some people using Linux is to use FOSS for everything, and that's fine. That is your goal, that is your objective, that is what you value, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you like something but you feel you can improve it, you can. If you like different parts of different components, you can put those together and make your own thing, and then you can put that thing you made on a GitHub or something and share it with other people. You're also free to choose your own distro, choose your own display manager, choose your own desktop environment, and whatever software you want to use. It's up to you. It's your system. And this is a common thing that happens a lot. I mean, we had distro tribalism before where, people are getting distro shamed for using something. You have people who are using certain software and getting shamed because it's bloat or it is not FOSS or they're using systemd or whatever. It doesn't really matter what you use what works for you. It's fine to have an opinion. It's fine to explain to someone who is asking. But to me, the problem I have is when people are forcing their values on other people. Yes, you can make other people aware of it. Yes, you can educate someone about it. But you often see people going off on tangents about how they're using this software, that software, and it doesn't really matter. It is your computer. Do what you want, honestly. Now, there are ways where you can go and get a system built where it is completely compatible with FOSS drivers and firmware. Now, if you go on the Free Software Foundation website, they've got some laptops here that might be a little bit outdated that are certified by the Free Software Foundation. And there's a company here called Technoethical. You can go to their website. And if you have a laptop that has a Wi-Fi card that you need a proprietary driver for, non-free driver, you can probably go here and find one like here that you can buy that will work with free drivers. So you can go ahead and buy this, swap it out with the one that you have, and it'll work. They also have a products page on the Free Software Foundation website where you can see products that will work with free and open source drivers. And there's also a website called hnode.org, which lists a whole bunch of other hardware. So you can click sound cards, and they have a whole bunch of things here that will work with free drivers. But now this makes the difficulty in building a computer a little harder because you have to check each component to make sure that it is listed here somewhere, find out exactly what the model is of each device, and then see if it will work out of the box using only FOSS. This doesn't always work when you're shopping for, say, a laptop, though, because some of the components you just can't switch out. And some of them, if you can, you may have a hard time trying to find the exact one that you need. For myself, I got a Dell XPS 13 not long ago, and it had everything I wanted hardware-wise and performance-wise and the small form factor and the quality of the build. But I needed to use non-free firmware. That's just the way it is. It's either that or the alternative is to just use Windows on it. And, well, then what's the point? Now, it's not just firmware that is a to FOSS or not to FOSS situation. It's also software. I myself, for example, use Photoshop, and yes, it's running in Wine. I used GIMP for a long time, and I used Krita, which is the closest thing, but the performance just isn't there. I like to edit my thumbnails in 4K, and with Krita, it just chugs and struggles to do any kind of effect. And if I'm trying to move something, it's, 1 frame per second, if that, just dragging things around. And with Photoshop, it is smooth and seamless and takes no time at all. And again, this is my choice. If you want to use Krita, have at her. But for me, Krita just didn't work for me. And believe me when I say, if there was a Linux native FOSS application that ran as well as Photoshop does, I would use it 100%. But this is a case where the proprietary software just did a much better job, and I decided to use it. Same goes for Lightworks. I used Kdenlive for a long time, but you know what? I gave Lightworks a shot. I did 2 projects. I think it was, I don't remember what it was. It might have been my first NixOS video. And I edited and rendered that video twice, once in Kdenlive and again in Lightworks. And I just went by how much easier it was to use, how much time was I saving with it, how much faster it was rendering. And all this makes a huge difference because time is valuable. If there's a way for me to save time doing something, I'm going to do that. I mean, if there ever comes a day where I'm a full-time YouTuber and I have all day long to just make videos and edit videos, yeah, I'll switch back to Krita and Kdenlive, no problem, because I'll have more time. But the reality is I still have a full-time job, I have a family, kid, and I really have to balance the priorities in working on YouTube. Now, I'm not bashing Kdenlive or the free software. I just found that my workflow, my way of doing things, my way of editing and all the effects and the transitions and everything just worked so much faster using Lightworks. Even scrubbing is just faster. Everything is faster. And I like the full screen preview I can put on the second screen, which I think you could do now in Kdenlive. But regardless, this was just a matter of getting things done quicker and more efficiently for me. Now, I'm well aware I'm probably going to get some nasty comments about this video, but these are the type of people I'm talking about who chastise other people on, the forums and Reddit and IRC and whatever for using what they want to use. And I'm sorry, but it's not right. It does not make you a better person. When you install Linux, you don't sign into a contract that you will only use FOSS. That is a decision for each individual to make. Obviously, some people are joking around when they say that, and it's kind of obvious, but the ones who talk down to you from upon their high horse, they need to stop that. It's no one's job to tell other people that their values are better than someone else's values, that their choices are better than someone else's choices. Educating and berating people are 2 very different things, and a lot of people might not know where that line is, or they just care so passionately that they don't care about throwing other people down. But in the end, yes, use free and open source software when you can. And that is my recommendation, but you don't have to. It's your choice. It's your system. Do what you want. Personally, I use FOSS when I can, whenever I can, but you have to do what you have to do to get things done. If you have an NVIDIA GPU, well, you can use the Nouveau drivers, but you're not going to get the performance that you get out of the proprietary drivers. I'm sorry. So if you're one of those users who have been talked down to about using a certain piece of software or whatever by somebody, next time that happens, just ask them what law you broke or what makes them the king of Linux, because honestly, it's just talk. Doesn't make anyone better than anyone else. But do ensure you follow any licensing. That's one thing I will say. Regardless of what you're doing on your system, make sure if you're redistributing anything, you know what you're doing and you follow the rules of the licensing. So I hope you enjoyed my rant. I was just getting a little irritated by seeing all these things online, and I thought I should speak my piece. I'll see you next time. Bash on, in whichever way you see fit.